Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm happy to have you back on this channel. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. My name is Esther Jelenke, and I share on this channel my experiences on raising a child with autism. So I have been sharing with you my journey as a mother with a daughter who has autism, and I am hoping that as you're stopping by, you will gain one or two things from what I have shared and from what I'll be sharing with you today. If you have not subscribed, can I ask you to please press the subscription button and be part of this family? I will appreciate it because I'm going to be stepping not really outside of my comfort zone, but I'm going to be sharing some other tips with you. I'm going to be mentioning that at the end of this video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you sleep problem in autism, and that is the problems that I went through raising Gracie and the challenges that we went through when it comes to sleep and how I overcame them. Okay, just to let you know, in my last video I did share with you that Gracie has finished college. We were exploring next stage and what we will be doing going forward. I did share that she was going to be going for a pottery lesson, a trial pottery lesson, and I'll be updating you on how that went. I think that went really well. Gracie enjoyed it. However, I think the teacher was wary of signing Gracie up. I think it's because she's not experienced in teaching children with autism. She's not experienced in teaching special needs children. So she saw Gracie as challenging, and she was not able to manage her with other people in her class. There was no opportunity for Gracie to have a one-to-one lesson, so she couldn't actually agree to have a session for Gracie only. So that was a challenge that we had, and it was unfortunate because she enjoyed it very well. And here's the video.
Your love is kind. Your love is patient. You fill my heart with so much peace and joy. You're amazing. You make my life feel brand new. You're amazing. You make my life feel brand new. Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh, too much, oh, excess love, oh. Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh, too much, oh, excess love, oh. Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh, too much, oh, excess love, oh. Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh, too much, oh, excess love, oh.
So from that video, you would see that Gracie was happy. She was smiley. She had her face shield on, like protecting herself. And on that day, she had another person in class with her. So there were two people in class, but the second person was quite an older person. I think was a retired person. So Gracie disturbing and doing things that she loved to do as a special needs child was challenging for both the other student and the teacher. So unfortunately, Gracie will not be going back for pottery lesson with that same teacher. However, I am still looking through and looking for a teacher that is able to take Gracie on, because she really enjoyed it, and I would love Gracie to continue in a pottery lesson if possible. Another thing that we are looking at is for Gracie to go for horse riding lessons, because I have noticed that Gracie loves horses. The moment she hears that there are horses around, she runs around to watch. She wanted to touch, and this happened when I took her for a gardening trial lesson. I'll be sharing that with you, the pictures and videos with you, in my next video. But I think when she went for gardening trial days, I saw that she had some interest in horses. So I am looking into trying to sign her up for a horse riding lesson. We'll have a trial and see how she goes, but I'm sure she's going to enjoy that lesson. I'll keep you updated on that. Another thing that we have looked at that Gracie could do is I am still on the hunt looking for like a cafe that she could walk in, just helping them to clear the table and do other things. So I will be updating you on that as well shortly. Let's get into today's video, and that is on sleep problems in autism. Children on the spectrum often have problems with falling asleep and staying asleep, and that was exactly the problem that I found with Gracie growing up. And when this happens, this can worsen their situation, then make sleeping a very challenging situation for both that child and the parents. I found that majority of the children that I have met have had problems with sleep, and Gracie was not an exception. And when this happens, it can be disruptive for everyone in the family, for both the child and other siblings and the parents, especially if parents are working like I was working, and other siblings have to go to schools. So it can be a very challenging and destructive situation for the whole family. I think one of the reasons why these children on the spectrum have problem falling asleep is because they find it very difficult to settle. Their brains don't shut down, and because their brains don't shut down, they find it difficult to fall asleep. Another reason why they find sleeping challenging is because if they now finally falls asleep and they had to get up to go to toilet, it's always difficult for them to go back to sleep. Another reason that I found was possibly when they're anxious, anxiety. When Gracie was younger, we had a lot of problems getting Gracie to sleep. It was very challenging. She was hyperactive, and she's a little hyperactive, but she has improved a lot in her behavior. She was, like I said in my previous video, she was diagnosed with autism and learning disability. But growing up, I found out that she had ADHD with her autism. So it was difficult for her to relax. It was difficult for her to settle, and so therefore it was difficult for her to fall asleep. There were times that Gracie would not fall asleep throughout the night. I've had times that Gracie would cry throughout the night. There was a particular time that Gracie was she was crying. She just stood in a corner, and she remained in that corner for the whole night. Right where she was, she would wee herself. She did practically anything she wanted to do in that corner. If I wanted to take her to the toilet, she would refuse. I just cannot explain the situation she was in, but she was there in that corner all night. And anytime she soiled herself, I will have to change her pajamas, put another one on her, and she would remain in that corner. And I had to remain with her. So many times I cried because I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on with this child? So it was very difficult. But as a Christian, what I was doing was I was praying for her. I was constantly laying my hands on her, praying over her, asking God to please settle her down. And finally, she would fall asleep. But there was a particular day that I remember Gracie she was awake from that night right until almost 6 a.m. And I remember when she started falling asleep where she was standing, I took her and put her in her bed. And I think she was about 8-9 years. I put her to bed and she fell asleep. But she was only able to sleep for like a couple of hours because I had to get her up so that I could get her ready for school, and I had to go to work. Another reason why I think these children find it difficult to fall asleep is if there's any noise going on in the house. You know, once you put them to bed, I think it will be nice for everybody to either go to bed or be very quiet. So what I used to do was I used to make sure Gracie was awake until when everybody was ready to sleep, and that was when I would put her to bed. Or else, even when we had to go to toilet in the night, we had to tiptoe. So you can manage it, and that is by making sure that you keep them awake until when everybody was ready, because the later they go to bed, the later it will be for them to wake up in the morning. What can you do when, if you have children finding it very difficult to sleep? I think the first thing I will advise for you to do is have a bedtime routine. Have a time that everybody would be going to bed, and have a routine for yourself as well. Do everything that you need to do just before bedtime, getting them, getting things ready. Maybe you want to do their packed lunch, get their uniforms ready, and whatever you need to do, make sure you do it while they were still awake. And once you put them to bed, let everybody go to bed. So have a bedtime routine. Maybe just before bedtime, give them a shower just to relax them. Read a bedtime story. Do something that is relaxing. You can play music. That's what I used to do. Gracie loves classical music. She loves music, actually. She loves music, any music. But in those days, I used to play classical music, and that used to really help Gracie. That relaxed her, and that made her to fall asleep easily as well. So if you have a bedtime routine, maybe play soft music, give them a hot shower, read them a story, do things that will make them to relax, and then put them to bed. That should help in getting them to sleep. Another thing that they would need to have is to have a comfortable bedroom. Have a comfortable room, maybe a dark room, because Gracie loves sensory things. She's got a disco light, and then when you put that disco light on, the different colors of that light, reflect on the ceiling. So Gracie loves to see that used to relax her. So we used to put that on. But the other problem or the challenging aspect of that was that my other daughter shared a room with Gracie, and it was difficult for her because she wouldn't appreciate having those lights on while she wanted to fall asleep. So that was the challenging issue that I had. But if you have the luxury of your child having a separate room, try that disco light as well. That is something that relaxes them and makes them to fall asleep easily. I think another thing that would help them is if they have like a comfortable bed. I made sure that I have mattress cover, different kinds. I made sure that Gracie's bed is well padded and comfortable, so when she sleeps on it, she feels cozy, and that helps her to fall asleep easily. Another thing that you can do is give them medication. I remember Gracie was actually prescribed a medication called melatonin at the time, but I didn't find this helpful at all. It did not help Gracie. There was no amount of melatonin I gave to Gracie that helped Gracie to fall asleep. The main thing that I did with Gracie was prayers. And then, apart from praying for her, asking God to please help her to fall asleep. I played the music and give her a bath and lights and things that I felt would help Gracie to fall asleep. If you think that your child might need medication to make them fall asleep, I would suggest you speak to your GP and try melatonin and see if it will work for your own child. So my advice for you parents will be, make sure you get some sleep when those children are sleeping. I found it very difficult. I almost ran crazy, mental, when I wasn't sleeping. I was not sleeping at all. And I had to work, and I was working full time, and I needed to work. I didn't have that luxury of staying at home. And even if I had that luxury of staying at home, I'm not a home person. I love to do something, and I enjoyed working. So staying at home, being a full-time parent would have run me mental as well. So I had to work my way around ensuring that I sleep when Gracie was sleeping. I just had to leave everything at home undone. When Gracie was sleeping, it was time for me to quickly find a way of just catching up on my sleep or doing other things that I needed to do. And for you parents, if you're struggling, please speak to someone. Speak to your GP. And if you have a church that you go to, speak to someone at church. Speak to your pastor, speak to your welfare officer, speak to anyone that you think, or speak to your family, someone that could help you, or people that could help you. If you don't get help, it is very challenging. I can tell you that it was God that sustained me bringing Gracie up. It was a very challenging situation for us. And Gracie sharing a room with my other daughter was very challenging as well. I remember times my other daughter would wake up at night and she would go into the bathroom, lock herself in the bathroom, and she would cry. And her crying would wake me up. And the reason why she was crying was because she was not having any sleep. Gracie was very disruptive, and they were sharing a bedroom. And that broke my heart. That, I don't think there will be parents that will not be broken. So I can tell you there were lots of nights that I was in my bed and I was crying. I just cried myself to sleep because I just didn't know what to do. I was fed up. So if you need help, please don't just keep quiet. Speak to your GP, speak to somebody, cry out for help. People will definitely help you. So how did I resolve my issues with Gracie sharing a bedroom with my other daughter and disrupting everybody's sleep in total? I had to make a very difficult decision, and that was to send Gracie to a boarding school. And I had to make that difficult decision because I thought that was the best decision to make, not only for Gracie, even for my other children and for myself. So Gracie went to a boarding school for 7 years, from when she joined secondary school. She was there, and I can tell you that I never regretted Gracie going to boarding school. She went to that boarding school, and there the professionals and the people that worked with her, they helped her with her sleeping pattern. And Gracie came back home, I'm telling you, sleeping throughout the night. I can tell you right now that we don't have problem with Gracie's sleep. Gracie falls asleep anytime. When she's ready, she just gets up, goes to bed and sleep. So that is one of the was one of the benefits that I found when with Gracie going to a boarding school. There are a lot of benefits sending your child to a boarding school. She came back independent. Now she can lay her bed, she can put her clothes on and try to do some few things that I can say that she was not able to do when she was at home. So when Gracie was at home, because I was a full-time working mom, and I had other younger children that I was looking after, it was difficult for me to actually focus on Gracie only. So going to a boarding school helped Gracie in growing and getting that independence that she needed at that time. And I'm so happy I did, even though it was very challenging. I cried for weeks, and I would call the school, even in the middle of the night, I would call the school to find out how she was doing, because I felt part of me was away, and I didn't like it. It was like, how can I be here and my child was far away from home? So I would cry and cry myself to sleep. Lots of times I wept and wept and wept. My pillow will be full of tears. But I'm so grateful to God that it worked very well, and she's back home with us, and I don't think I'm going to let her go anywhere now. No way. We're all going to stick together. So yes, this is all I have to share with you when it comes to Gracie and her challenging sleeping pattern. So just before I end this video, I'm just going to quickly let you know that going forward, I'm going to be chipping in few other things into this channel. I feel that I've got a lot of experiences that I would love to be sharing with you on this channel. And the reason being that growing up, I had so many challenges that I went through as a child growing up in a Christian home. So I want to share my experiences, or my experience growing up in a Christian home, and looking at the pros and the cons of a child growing up in a Christian home. I want to be sharing this with young people because I think they would be able to gain one thing or the other from me. I am someone that is very passionate about young people. I'm passionate in the sense that I love young people to be able to grow freely and to be able to explore, you know, the world freely. However, I love young people to be able to find support or help in navigating life, because I noticed that growing up there were lots of mistakes that I made, which was as a result of not having a mentor, not having someone coaching me, not able to speak to my parents, you know, because I'm from an African family, and not able to discuss things with my family, with my mom, or maybe with the church because of our culture. So in a way, there were things that I wish that I had known growing up that I feel could have helped me in making a lot of decisions in my life. However, I have no regrets of my growing up, but I would like to share my experience and my experiences with young people, and I would like to compare that with growing up now. That's why sometimes I'm going to be chipping that in. So if you have any young person, please let them come to this channel. They will learn a lot from me. I'm going to be very raw. I'm not going to be sugarcoating anything. I'm going to be straight to the point, and I'm going to be using the Bible as well. So it's not going to be based on my own knowledge. It's going to be based on the Word of God. So I'll use the Bible with my experience and what is going on, and we will discuss what life as a young person is about. So please, if you have any young person that you know that is not part of this channel, please point them here, let them come here, because I like it to be interactive. I like them to drop their their experiences, to drop their questions, to just drop anything that they would want me to discuss about, because I'm going to be very straightforward, I'm going to be raw, and I'm going to be real. And also I'm going to use my Bible to back up anything that I will be sharing with you. Thank you very much for watching. If you have not subscribed, let me remind you again to please subscribe, share this video, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you very much, and God bless you.